You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 514 of the True Crime All the Time podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
I'm good, man. And you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. You look like
I'm actually doing better than you this week.
Yeah, you are again.
I don't have a kidney stone the size of Uranus trying to make its way through my body.
Don't know why you had to bring my Uranus in this, but you know.
I don't know. I thought it'd be funnier than like Saturn or Neptune or Uranus is the funniest of all planets. You know that.
That's true. That's true.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Eric Plans.
What's going on? Plans?
Jessica L.
Hey, Jessica.
Remington.
And Remington. That's like a
strong name.
Yeah, like
it is.
Remington.
Pam Simon.
Hey, Pam.
Shelley Blass.
What's going on, Shelley?
Brittany Albright.
Oh, Brittany.
Cherie Chance.
Well, thanks, Cherie.
And last but not least, Michelle McDaniel.
Thanks, Double M.
And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Annette Quisenberry.
There is Annette.
Yeah, and I actually remember when she signed up because that name jumped out at me.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the time, date, and...
No, because it's been a long time ago. We're probably in 2019 right now.
Are we?
In the vault?
Yeah.
So we're still pretty far back in time, but I do remember that name.
Yeah, it's not your average last name.
No, but we appreciate all the Patreon support. Thank you very much. We have an episode right now on Unsolved that's out, and it's on Kevin Verveil Jr. Just days after his parents brought him home from the hospital. Kevin was abducted by a woman who claimed to be part of an organization that assisted young families. So a very strange but interesting case, and a little different from some of our other unsolved, in that there's a very good likelihood that although this case happened over 40 years ago, Kevin is probably out there alive and just has no idea who he really is.
You know, I think you hope someone listens to a case like this and they hear something that just kind of rings true to them or
just clicks.
And they're like, you know, that kind of sounds like some questions I've been having about my own life.
Yeah. Or someone they know.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday's TCAT, we're talking about Sharon Erickson. She was a retired county worker who was murdered in a very small town in Nebraska. And after the murder, people in this small town started pointing the finger at each other.
Oh, the good old small towns.
Oh, I mean, we're talking small, like 100 people.
Yeah, that's tiny.
All right, buddy. Are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time?
I am.
We're talking about Matima Miller, 19-year-old Matima Miller, whom millions of people knew by his TikTok nickname, Swavey, was murdered in broad daylight in July 2021. With community support, police quickly identified his killer, who was linked to multiple gang-related crimes. At the time of his death, Matima Miller had 2.3 million followers on TikTok, where he posted under the username @babyface.s. He had another 300,000 followers on Instagram. His fans knew him by the nickname Swavey.
Man, it's hard to get followers on TikTok.
Well, that is a lot.
That is a lot.
Right? You got millions and then 300,000 on Instagram. And those are really impressive numbers when it comes to followers.
You're doing something right there in that social media world.
Matima Miller Jr. was born on December 26th, 2001 in Wilmington, Delaware. And Matima spent his whole life in Wilmington. He was always close with his family, who described him as a helpful, active, and sweet little boy. His family recalled how he started dancing when he was still in diapers. Dancing always seemed to come naturally to him.
Just like it does for me.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's come full circle, right? Because you started dancing in diapers, and now you're still dancing in diapers. Well, it's done like a full circle 360.
Rex West, occasionally.
I mean, you call him depends, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, sometimes he requires them if it's late evening show.
Which is 4:30.
Which is 4:30. And he's had a little bit more drink that day than normal. Yeah, it's possible you might catch him with something on.
But I will say you are a hell of a dancer. Well, and that's something most people probably would not think about you.
Did they call me Michael Jackson? You know, maybe.
No, I always think of you as more of a Patrick Swayze in like a Dirty Dancing type role.
Oh, yeah, I can do those moves left and right, left, right, right, left.
So Matima, he was a dancer. He grew up idolizing stars like Michael Jackson. And, let's face it, a lot of people did.
Sure, they did.
His brother, Rakeem Clark, said Matima was a daredevil who liked doing backflips off of cars, fences, and walls.
Man, I had a friend that loved doing that. You probably know somebody that liked to do that kind of stuff too. Just randomly doing backflips.
Yeah, I can think of some people who, I guess like today it would be like parkour. Maybe they call it parkour.
Yeah.
We used to just call it being stupid.
Yeah.
I was not one of those people because I never wanted to hurt myself, and I just had a feeling I probably would.
Yeah.
But when someone told Matima he couldn't do something, he always wanted to prove them wrong. And I know a lot of people know someone like this.
For sure.
Right? The minute, and a lot of our kids are like this, right? The minute you tell them they can't do something, that's when they want to do it more than anything.
Right.
According to his sister, Quinija, she and Rakeem have a different father than Matima. Matima's father wasn't in his life, which made him feel like he wasn't good enough. It's tough, right?
Sure.
You have siblings who have a different father, and let's say their father, is in their lives. Your father is not. There's going to be some feelings of inadequacy there.
Yeah. I mean, because what's wrong with me that he didn't want to be here with me, for me?
Maybe some jealousy, anger, things like that. When Matima's mother, Moni, started seeing a man named Shannon, he became a father figure to Matima, and they developed a close bond. Tragically, Shannon was killed due to gun violence. The loss of his stepfather deeply affected Matima. He went through a difficult time. He began acting out in school and spending more time away from home. This worried Matima's family because drugs and gang violence are persistent problems in Wilmington. And we just talked about how his father wasn't in his life. Then, along comes Shannon, who seemed like he was a very positive influence in Matima's life. And then all of a sudden, Shannon is murdered.
Yeah, stripped out of his life.
Or killed. And like you said, stripped away from his Matima's life. That had to have been a big blow, right? You had no one when it comes to a father figure. Then you had this guy who you probably looked up to, and now all of a sudden he's gone.
The double whammy.
Matima's sister told the show Deadly Influence, Wilmington, Delaware is known as Killaware, Murder Town, USA. Where we live, there's only two ways to go. Either going to be someone positive, or you're going to be sucked into your environment and join a gang.
It's funny, you hear this, and at least in my arena, when you think of Wilmington, Delaware, you think of all the banks that use that address for their corporation.
Yeah, I did not realize that Wilmington, Delaware was a high crime, high murder rate place.
Yeah.
I really didn't. Moni tried to protect her kids from this by making sure they stayed in school and taking them to church each Sunday. She encouraged them to get involved in church activities. So Matima joined his church's step dancing team called the Holy Soldiers. Matima enjoyed being part of the group and had a natural talent for step dancing.
You like to step dance.
I don't know for sure what step dancing is.
Oh, come on. I've seen you do it. You know, you're
So,
stepping
like-
around to the beat, you know. And,
Really? That's your definition? Step dancing is stepping around to the beat?
I mean, it's better than when you used to do the jig thing that you did that was nowhere near cue. You're just out here doing an Irish jig, or you called it the Scottish jig.
First of all, anyone who knows me knows that I would never be caught dancing. Not that way, anyway.
Yeah. You probably, to be honest, you probably were like a Western two-stepper.
My wife and I did do country line dancing when we were younger.
Yeah, I can see that.
We had hats and buckles and everything.
I see the hat right here. It's in the studio.
There's a couple of hats around. In February 2020, Matima created his TikTok account. He posted his first video on March 3rd, 2020. He soon started posting regularly, mostly dance videos, filmed in his living room, his neighborhood, or in public places. His videos featured trending dance moves, popular dances from various cities, and cultural dances from around the world. He became known for dancing in his Crocs.
Crocs. You know, there's either a love them or hate them with Crocs. Like, people either got to have their Crocs, or people are like, those are the most disgusting things ever.
Yeah, I think there's it can go either way, but there's probably very little in between.
Yeah.
You're right. People either love them, can't live without them, or they absolutely hate them. Eventually, Matima started posting comedy sketches that were just as popular with his audience. After just 5 months on TikTok, he had over 400,000 followers.
That's not bad.
That seems like a crazy number.
Yeah.
Celebrities like Missy Elliott, Snoop Dogg, and Chris Brown took notice of his videos. Matima featured his family in some of his posts. In one video, he pretended his brother Rakeem was his dad, but his followers quickly caught on to the joke. Matima became close friends with a boy named Quan, who found his account and realized they went to the same school. They started hanging out and soon became inseparable. They filmed videos together, and Matima became a social media mentor to him. Quan considered Matima his brother and said he was funny, goofy, caring. He would always be there for my rescue. And, let's face it, there are a lot of people in the last 10 years or so who have made a lot of money on YouTube, TikTok, things like that, or have thought that they could and at least tried it. I mean, there are young kids right now who believe that's going to be their life goal.
Well, I believe me, I know my son Chase. He's on TikTok. He has like 700,000 followers, and it just kind of started out as him cooking, and now he has all these followers, and it's not what he's where his way to fund his life is.
Right, he just does it as kind of a side thing.
Yeah, but it's kind of just taken off now. Now he's just trying to get to 1 million because that's what you do, right? If you first want to hit 100,000, you hit 100,000, you want to hit 500,000. Now you want to hit 1 million subscribers, or followers, whatever it is.
Well, and he's a good-looking cat.
Yeah, he's not bad looking. I mean, obviously he didn't.
He is a Gibby.
Well, he is definitely a Gibby. Just taller, longer
hair. He's got like a Thor-looking hairdo.
Yeah,
California blondish.
He has a weird TikTok. It's him cooking. But a lot of people go there for the comments. So I don't know. Shut up, Chase.
I'm not on TikTok. I don't really understand TikTok, but I do watch a lot of shorts on YouTube, which I believe pretty much come from TikTok. So I kind of get it now.
Yeah.
They can be quite addictive.
We do have a TikTok channel though.
We do.
Yeah.
We don't really post anything on it, but we do have one.
Yeah, go check it out.
I don't know what to put on there. As Matima's fan base grew, his brother Rakeem helped him monetize his TikTok account. Matima earned around $80,000 from TikTok in just a few months. That is a boatload of money.
It is. I think it's harder to monetize like that today because so many people do it. Obviously, you can still monetize and make good money, but I mean, it'd be great if you could make that type of money out of the gate, with a few 100,000 followers.
Yeah. Well, after 9 months on TikTok, he had over 1 million followers.
Wow.
Although he was a social media star, Matima was still a normal teenage boy who enjoyed hanging out with his friends. He was conscious of gang activity in his neighborhood and tried to stay as safe as possible. He wasn't involved in gangs in any way, but a local gang was targeting one of his friends. This gang once shot at Matima and his friends, but no one was harmed. This was Matima's first time witnessing a shooting up close, and he became even more conscious about staying safe. You know what will make you more conscious about your safety? Being shot at.
Absolutely.
I never have, knock on wood.
Well, you haven't, but you did have a bullet come through your house.
I did.
So
we weren't home at the time, but it was a little scary to discover after the fact.
Absolutely. See, some people would say they survived a drive-by.
Maybe. It was just one, though. Can you call that a drive-by? Just one.
That's how you tell the story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I could really play it up, I guess, if I wanted to. Let me ask you a question. What are you looking for in a bank? Are you looking for a stuffy bank that is set in the past, doing things the way things have always been done? But what if you could get banking the way you wanted it? That's where Chime comes in. No more ridiculous fees. They have the option to get your paycheck early. Chime is a bank that's on your side, changing the way people bank. They offer the most rewarding fee-free banking. They don't charge you overdraft and monthly fees. They have thousands of fee-free ATMs. Why would you pay to get your own money? Chime is built for you, not the 1%. And you can get 5% cash back using the Chime card in a category of your choice like gas or groceries. Man, I wish Chime was around when I was in my 20s because I just remember paying so many fees to bank. Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. Head to chime.com/TCAT. That's chime.com/TCATT. It only takes a few minutes to sign up. Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services for Chime Card, provided by Chime's bank partners. Optional products and services may have fees or charges. For more information, go to chime.com/disclosures. Matima's mother, Moni, found a gun in the house. She explained that she was angry with Matima because she didn't want weapons in the home. She asked him to get rid of it, and he did. She didn't think much of it after that, but figured he had the gun for protection. Well, if you're getting shot at, maybe you do have one if you can legally own it. Matima started to treat his social media accounts as a full-time job. He wanted to earn more money so he could move himself and his family out of Wilmington. He dreamed of buying a house in Atlanta and moving his loved ones to the city. And I get it, man. If you're in an area that is heavily gang infested, you've already been shot at once, and you are making pretty good money.
Yeah.
I could see a dream of maybe moving somewhere else, a little safer, a little nicer. So he started doing collaborations with other creators and traveling around the country to make videos. He also had a goal of creating a YouTube channel and monetizing that account. Man, monetize anything you can.
Well, that's the name of the game.
Matima began collaborating with 22-year-old Quinton Dorsey, a Wilmington local who owned his own clothing brand. And this guy owns his own clothing brand at 22 years old.
Man.
At 22, I'm pretty sure I was pushing carts at Walmart.
I'm trying to remember what I was doing at 22.
I might have been a manager at Walmart by that time, but at one point I was pushing carts.
I think I might have been at UPS. One of the probably handful of jobs I had at that time.
Besides being a male escort?
/ entertainer.
Deuce, you were like the original Deuce Bigelow.
Oh, love that movie, man.
Yeah, he hasn't done a lot of good movies, but that one's pretty funny.
You don't have to think to watch it. You
No.
just laugh because it's so stupid.
It's not highbrow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Quinton Dorsey lost his father to gun violence, and his mother died of a heart attack. Although his childhood was difficult, he grew up to be a happy and successful young man. Quinton was raised by his grandmother, Deborah Cleveland, until he was 13. At that point, he moved in with his aunt, Tanya. In 2019, shortly after graduating high school, Quinton started a clothing brand called Bag Season. He started off by pressing and tie-dyeing t-shirts in his basement. He later expanded his clothing line to include hoodies, tracksuits, shorts, and socks. According to his grandmother, he picked himself up from the bootstraps.
Go get her.
Man, I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for people like this.
Yeah.
You know, to start something from scratch and to work really hard to build it and to have it pay off. That is a really good feeling.
Entrepreneurship at the best. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this guy went through a lot. He could have gone a number of different directions, but there's no doubt he decided to stay very positive and do something good with his life. And it was said that many people in Wilmington wore Bag Season clothes. Quinton did pop-up shops on Saturdays and typically made a few $1,000s each weekend.
So even on the weekends, he was a go-getter, right? He could have been doing anything else, but he's like, I'm going to do a pop-up and I'm going to sell my stuff and make some money.
Where most kids his age probably would have been at home playing video games or whatever.
Or still in bed.
Quinton became the main provider for his siblings and family. His family said that his dedication to his business kept him from getting involved in gangs or drugs, which is why they were shocked that he was later targeted by a gang. In 2021, Quinton started giving Matima Miller Bag Season clothes to wear in his videos. At first, their relationship was just business, but the two young men developed a bond. Quinton Dorsey was fatally shot in Wilmington's East Side neighborhood on July 2nd, 2021. That day, Quinton visited his grandmother and was hosting a pop-up shop outside her house. Deborah Cleveland and several of her grandchildren were near her front steps when a man approached Quinton, drew a gun to the left side of his head, and pulled the trigger. And it was said, Gibbs, that the impact lifted Quinton into the air and sent his body crashing to the ground, and he was dead by the time he hit the ground.
That's a pretty high caliber gun then, right?
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, obviously he was pretty close, so that had something to do with it. But I can't even imagine, Gibbs, right? Deborah's out there. You know, there's other people out there, some of her grandchildren. And to watch this happen right in front of you to someone you love, it's unimaginable. I mean, it's hard enough to think about finding out that someone you love has been murdered. But to see it happen right in front of you,
no way.
It'd be hard to live through for sure. The bullet went through the front window into the room where Deborah's husband and other grandchildren were sitting. People began to run as the gunman fled the scene. Deborah recalled to the News Journal, I know Quinton is dead. I'm watching him bleed out, brains and blood. Then a crowd of people grabbing me. Deborah told police she could identify the killer and picked 18-year-old Israel LeCompte from a photo lineup hours after the shooting. LeCompte was affiliated with the North Pack gang in Wilmington.
18 years old. Man, but that's not uncommon with some of these gangs. 18-year-old, 16-year-old.
Yeah, unfortunately, they can get involved. People can with the gangs pretty young. Apparently, Quinton was standing in front of her before he was shot and asked the shooter if he was really going to do this in front of his grandmother. The shooter replied, "Fuck your grandma," and then shot him. I mean, that is cold-blooded.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
One family member who asked not to be named told the News Journal they believed the motive for the murder was envy over Quinton's success. Matima Miller was saddened by the loss of his friend, and everyone in the community was worried because the shooter hadn't been caught yet. And then just 3 days later, Matima was murdered. On the morning of July 5th, 2021, Matima and his friend Quan went to a nearby McDonald's to get breakfast. Quan recalled that on the drive home, Matima told him, "I love you, bro, and I got a plan. I'm going to move us out to Atlanta this or next week." They returned to Matima's house and started walking inside when a man in a red hoodie approached and shot Matima in the chest 3 times. Matima tried to grab the weapon, but he wasn't fast enough. The gunman immediately ran away. Quan ran inside the house to get Matima's mother, Moni. She ran outside and saw Matima face down on the ground. He was still alive, but was gasping for air. He was quickly transported to the hospital, and his mother wasn't allowed to ride with him. By the time she got there, she was told that Matima had died. I mean, these are both very difficult situations.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back to the murder of Quinton. This thought that people were envious of his success. And maybe we're going to find out that it's similar here with Matima. That can be a big problem, especially for young people, right? If you're 18 years old and you're seeing another 18-year-old who's blowing up on social media, they've got their own clothing line. Now these people are making all this money. They're becoming quasi-famous. That can be hard for some people to handle.
And it's strange for me because you think instead of being jealous or envious or whatever, right? You should be happy. These are 2 guys that are doing really well, probably going to be able to get away from the neighborhood, but they're on their way up and out are probably going to lift some people up with them. And you would want to encourage that.
Yeah.
Not be like, we don't want that happening. Let's make sure we knock these people down.
Well, I mean, how much of it has to do with being in this gang? And I think we're going to find out,
Sure,
right? But that's got to be a contributing factor. Hours after the shooting, social media condolences poured in on Matima's pages. Matima posted his last video on TikTok late on July 4th or early on July 5th. Fans had already identified Matima as the victim of the shooting before even the police did. According to the family, Quan was the sole witness to the shooting, but he didn't want to tell the police what he saw. In his interview for the show Deadly Influence, Quan explained that he was scared and didn't want to be the next target for going to the police. And I don't know how much you can blame this guy.
I don't think you can. I mean, he has a good reason to, based on the fact that 2 people are now dead.
And he has every right to think that, if he tells what he saw, he's going to be next.
If they're willing to shoot these guys in broad daylight with witnesses, what's going to stop them from killing him? Nothing,
right? They don't care. They're not even trying to hide their identity.
Right.
People are identifying them, shortly after the shooting. So, you want to think, okay, if you saw it, you want to tell the police everything that you saw. You want to help solve the murder. But on the flip side of that, at some point, do you have to be worried about your own safety? And I think this guy certainly did have to factor that in. I talked about people being envious of others' success. And I think that's probably true here with Quinton and Matima. But what else people don't like, especially gang members? They don't like people who rat others out. There's a lot of criminals who don't like that.
It's kind of like Crime 101, right? You're not supposed to rat out the bad guys.
Over the following days, the Wilmington Police Department was inundated with calls asking for updates on the investigation. Local residents also came together to solve the murders of 2 prominent young men in the city. And that's one thing I don't want to lose sight of. We're talking about these 2 guys, and they seem to be on the right path.
Yeah.
And we talked about Quinton pulling himself up from what seemed to be, a pretty bad set of circumstances. But he was doing amazingly, had started his own company. And, Matima was on his way, right? Had a lot of fans, was making some money. I mean, I think you could easily say that these guys had a very bright future ahead of them. They're also staying away from that gang lifestyle.
Yeah. They've chose a different path, and that path has proven to be successful for them up until the point that they're murdered.
But it's also hard for me not to believe that their success had something to do with the murders. With the help of local residents, police put together a timeline of a crime spree that began on July 1st, 2021. That day, a black Nissan Maxima with tinted windows was stolen in the area. That same vehicle was seen nearby during the shootings of Quinton Dorsey and Matima Miller. Authorities determined that the shell casings at both crime scenes matched, and witnesses at both shootings reported that the killer was wearing a red bag season hoodie, which was Quinton's brand. So, I mean, they're getting a lot of information, a lot of good information.
Yeah.
You have this black Nissan Maxima stolen, but seen at both shootings. And then once you determine that the shell casings at both crime scenes match, pretty much denotes that the same gun was used.
Right.
Now you can infer that it's the same killer. That is also strengthened by this report that the killer was wearing this red bag season hoodie.
I mean, this is good stuff for the police.
It really is. I think the questions that I would have is, okay, these two guys then, it sounds like, were targeted. But why? Was it solely because of their success and somebody was jealous? And what's the significance of the killer actually wearing a bag season hoodie? I mean, it's just all stuff that the police are going to have to try to figure out on top of who the actual shooter is.
Right.
Matima's mother, Moni, pleaded with Quan to speak to the police and tell them what he saw. He agreed. First, he sent Matima's brother, Rakim, an Instagram photo of a man he identified as the shooter. Rakim forwarded this information to the police. Matima's killer was identified as Israel Lecomte, the same person who Quinton Dorsey's grandmother identified as his shooter. And that doesn't surprise me at all, right? We talked about matching shell casings, matching car, the same red hoodie. Well, if Lecomte is identified as the first shooter, very likely he's the shooter of Matima as well.
Yeah, it just tracks that way.
Surveillance footage captured a man believed to be Lecomte at various crime scenes in the distinctive red hoodie. Lecomte's social media showed him in the same bag season hoodie. And I'm telling you, social media is great, but it can also come back to bite you in the ass.
It can. And we've done some cases over the last year that it kind of went in the against the killer.
Yeah. With things that you at the time, I'm sure, thought were innocuous.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't matter. Not that big a deal. Okay, I posted a picture of me in this outfit. Well, if you later wear that outfit to commit a murder or murders, it's going to most likely become a big deal.
Yeah.
Lecomte was arrested on July 10th, 2021. And we said it, right? But he was part of this North Pack gang, which was responsible for numerous crimes in Wilmington. In May 2021, 14 young men and teenagers were indicted on more than 120 criminal charges, including murder stemming from their involvement in the North Pack Street gang.
Man, that's a healthy amount of crimes going on.
It is. You know, some of these street gangs are extremely violent, though. It was said that these crimes occurred between November 2018 and April 2021, and at least 6 people were killed. Half of the 14 suspects were indicted on murder charges. The ages of the people indicted ranged from 15 to 23 years old.
I mean, to be indicted at the age of 15, where's your life go from there? I mean, really, from 15 to 23, where does your life go? But at 15, wow.
But, you know, that's the thing. these gangs, they recruit kids at a very young age.
Yeah.
And have them doing very adult stuff, right? At a young age.
That's true. I mean, these kids idolize these guys, right? They think the gang life is really cool. They see, fast money, cars.
And maybe just they want to belong to something.
Yeah, sometimes that's true.
For some people.
Yeah, people just have the need to feel like they belong. That's why you belong to the polka dance society. I know that. It helps you.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with polka. I just need a friend every now and then.
Yeah. And let's not forget, you do have a love for that accordion thing.
Well, there's not many places to show off your accordion skills.
Yeah. You are good at it.
On November 8th, 2021, Israel Lecomte was indicted on 38 felony charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 10 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 3 counts of robbery, and 1 count of illegal gang participation. 38 felony charges.
Yeah, it's a healthy amount of charges right there.
I mean, even if some of those are dropped,
yeah,
you're still looking at, if convicted for any of them, you're looking at a long time.
Well, I mean,
in prison.
You got 2 counts of first-degree murder buried in that. So.
Sure. I mean, those are the 2 biggies. On November 18th, Rakeem Clark posted on Instagram about the toll the loss of his brother had taken on him. He said, "A coward took a part of my soul away from me. No reasoning can justify why Tima's life was cut short. You gained nothing from it. Nothing but malice, envy, and darkness could drive someone to take an innocent person's life like that. My brother wasn't in no gang. He was just following his dreams and living his life." And I got to be honest with you, I mean, it's very well written and very emotional. It's hard not to get emotional when you think about, this guy writing this about his brother.
Yeah.
And the loss that he's experiencing. And he's right. What was gained from these murders?
Nothing.
Nothing was taken, but the lives of these 2 young men, the shooters, gained absolutely nothing from it.
No, but you took away these individuals from their loved ones, family, community. They were doing good out there. They weren't doing bad.
And sometimes some of these gangs have like initiation rites.
Right.
And sometimes the price to get in is to kill someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the mindset, but truthfully, I've never been in the situation, right, that many of these young people were probably in. I still don't think I would do it, but it's easy for me to say in this air-conditioned studio right now, having not had to live that life.
Yeah, if we were on the streets, didn't have anything, and we're struggling, maybe we would see it differently.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think I would, but I can say that
because
I don't know any
I'm
better.
with you. You don't want to think you would do that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Quinton and Matima, they didn't have it great. They went through a lot in their lives. They lived in the same town. They could have easily joined the gang, but they didn't. Why? Because they didn't want to go that route.
No, they wanted to be something different, more than that.
And they were making something of themselves that these other people could have done as well, but they chose to go the gang route. So it's hard to say that it's inescapable. Now, are you more likely to join a gang if your life starts out a certain way? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to. And I think these guys were living proof of that.
I think they were inspirational to many. And I just wish like these gang members would have seen that. Like, they're not bad. They're inspirational for the community. And we should view that as a good thing.
I mean, that's the way you and I think, right? It's kind of hard for us to understand how others think.
Yeah.
In some of these situations. In honor of what would have been Matima's 20th birthday in December 2021, his family set up a GoFundMe account to raise money for a scholarship in his honor called Swavey Shining Youth. Scholarship Foundation. According to an Instagram post by the family, our hope is that this scholarship will continue Matima's legacy and create many opportunities for dreamers just like him to increase their academic achievement and assist in their overall success. And that's a great thing. And it happens quite a bit, right? Where the family is trying to make something good happen out of this horrific tragedy. And they want to do something good in the name of their lost loved one. In March 2022, Israel LeCompte was charged in connection with a quadruple shooting in the Knollwood community of Claymont that killed 2 people and injured 2 more. He was indicted for murder, assault, attempted robbery, conspiracy, and several firearms charges. The shooting occurred on July 14, 2021. LeCompte and 16-year-old Jazir Brown conspired to rob 27-year-old Nathan Smith. During the robbery, LeCompte shot Smith and a 19-year-old woman who was with him. Smith died at a hospital, and the woman suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Jazir Brown was also killed in the robbery. It was unclear who shot him. LeCompte later showed up at the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. According to witnesses who spoke with the News Journal, LeCompte and Brown were trying to rob Smith of marijuana. So, I mean, it's hard to say anything good about Israel LeCompte.
No, he just wanted to hurt people
and take things. Or again, in the case of Quinton and Matima, it doesn't sound like he took anything. He just wanted to kill them.
Right.
Here, it does sound like maybe he wanted to rob this guy of some marijuana. He ends up killing the guy, shoots the girl, but she lives. And somehow his buddy is shot. But it's unsure whether he shot him or one of the victims did. I wouldn't be surprised if Israel shot him too in the commotion.
Yeah, might have.
Of the whole thing.
Well, this is definitely some guy that shouldn't be walking around on the streets.
No, I don't see this as a person, who you slap on the wrist and say, don't do these things again. No, this person needs to spend a very, very long time incarcerated.
Yes.
For what they've done. They have killed multiple people. And to me, Gibbs, they don't show any signs of stopping.
Right.
Unless they're stopped and put away.
And at such a young age, where's it going to go?
It's probably just going to get worse.
Yeah.
On October 20th, 2023, Israel LeCompte was sentenced to 27 years in prison for the murder of Nathan Smith in what prosecutors described as a botched robbery that led to the death of Smith and Jazir Brown. The sentencing occurred after LeCompte pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, assault, attempted robbery, and a weapons charge. Prosecutors detailed the events leading up to the fatal shooting. LeCompte and multiple others carjacked a Chevy Impala on a Wednesday in July in Chester, Pennsylvania. They drove around Wilmington looking to shoot rival gang members before heading to Claymont and the Knollwood community with the intent to rob Nathan Smith. Smith was armed, and a gunfight broke out that killed Smith and Brown. Deputy Attorney General John Downs asked the judge to go beyond the minimum mandatory sentence required by the plea deal. He noted that LeCompte had a challenging life, but he was also given court-ordered interventions and treatment and still returned to a life of carjackings, robberies, and shootings. LeCompte displayed a lack of remorse and suggested he only pleaded guilty because his DNA was found at the crime scene and because he was shot.
Well, I think, one, it's the life he knew is why he kept on going back to it. He didn't know anything more than that.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. But also, I don't think he was going to change that life anytime soon unless made to.
Yeah, he wasn't going to do it because someone told him he should clean up his life.
In mitigation, LeCompte's attorney told the court that he had shown remorse and didn't go out with the intention of killing anyone. LeCompte had a long history of trauma and underdeveloped intellect. LeCompte addressed Nathan Smith's family. He apologized and took responsibility for the crime, but said he didn't set out to hurt Smith. He simply said stuff went wrong. He promised to use his time in prison to better himself. What are you going to say at that point?
Yeah.
Gibbs? But, stuff went wrong. Okay. That's like you were putting together a display at the end of an aisle at Walmart of glass jars of pickles, and you knocked one over that knocked the whole thing over and everything broke. Hey, stuff went wrong.
That's right. Shit went down.
But that's not what you say when two people are murdered in a botched marijuana robbery.
No.
I get it. Technically, stuff did go wrong, but that you're trivializing it so much that it sounds bizarre
and insincere.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And, I promise that I'm going to better myself in prison. Hey, that's great if you do.
Sure.
But, if I'm the family, I'm like, I just want you to go away and be punished.
Yeah, I don't care what you do when you're in prison.
I hope you better yourself. Yeah. But on April 4th, 2024, Israel was found guilty of the murders of Matima Miller and Quinton Dorsey. He was also convicted of multiple other charges related to a non-fatal shooting and multiple robberies. In the summer of 2021, the trial lasted 3 weeks. As mentioned earlier, in the spring of 2021, dozens of members of the North Pack gang were indicted for gang participation, murders, and other crimes. According to the News Journal, throughout various trials, prosecutors showed that the North Pack gang's feud with other groups of young men in the city was the motive for the crimes that occurred from 2018 to the summer of 2021. A state gang expert and young men associated with the gang testified that North Pack members wanted to taunt or harm other gang-affiliated teens in the city and to build a reputation on social media.
Well, that's how you do that, right? You intimidate and you taunt your competition. In this case, other gangs.
Yeah, I get that as far as the gang lifestyle, but I didn't know that gangs were big on pumping themselves up on social media. It seems to me that if you're in a criminal enterprise, you would maybe want to stay a little bit low key.
You would think. Well, I guess nowadays,
all press is good press,
I guess.
Or all social media is attention is good. I don't know. If you're out there robbing and killing, doesn't seem like you want to bring that type of attention to yourself. But I think why this is so important is that prosecutors said that with several of his associates in prison, LeCompte wanted to keep North Pack on the offense. He considered it a score for the gang if he killed Matima Miller and Quinton Dorsey, who were successful local celebrities.
I just don't get that.
I don't either, but if you look at it from his point of view, which is kind of hard to do because, to be honest with you, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but he's wanting to build what? The gang's rep, and it's going to grow if he kills these two celebrities. Again, doesn't make sense to me. On June 9th, LeCompte was involved in a shooting at a North Wilmington park. The targets were associates of a rival gang in the wrong territory. Instead, the shooting wounded a 12 and a 16-year-old. Evidence showed LeCompte was the shooter. He was also involved in the theft of multiple cars, including the car spotted at the Dorsey and Miller murders. A woman in Newcastle reported her car stolen on June 30th, 2021. Her car was out of gas and had an ignition lock that activated after the carjacker parked it at a Wawa store in Claymont. Surveillance video from inside the gas station showed LeCompte buying fuel with his Apple Pay app. Surveillance footage showed him leading others to a nearby housing development where another car was stolen by threat of force. The car was found in Philadelphia in the same lot where a black Nissan Maxima was stolen the following day. The car had distinctive black rims, window tint, and a rear spoiler. A digital record showed that LeCompte's phone connected to the audio system in the Nissan minutes after it was stolen. His fingerprints were also found in the car.
I guess he didn't wipe those down and remove his smartphone from the car.
But this is so wild because it just sounds like they're stealing or carjacking cars to drive somewhere where they do it again, get another car, go somewhere else, steal another car. I mean, you think about the car thefts, the shootings that this guy was involved in. Gibbs, this guy was a real menace to society. Really? There's no other way to say it.
No, he really was. He was not a good guy, regardless of what happened in his childhood.
Yeah, or his past. And I get it. People have difficult past, but that's why I made so much out of Quinton and Matima's stories. Because they had difficulties.
Sure.
Growing up, right? They had obstacles to overcome. A lot of people have that. It doesn't mean that you have to resort to joining a gang, that you have to resort to a life of crime. And to me, I don't know how you can use it as an excuse. I really don't.
If anything, maybe this guy was jealous or just thought it was unfair that these guys took their hardship.
Made something.
Yeah, made something good. But yeah, he couldn't. So if I can't, how dare you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of it. But I also think there was an element where, he saw these guys as celebrities, and he thought that this was going to elevate the reputation of the gang.
Yeah, and him.
And him.
And they do, I think some gangs and members of gangs have that mindset.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think they do. The owner of the vehicle identified it in the surveillance footage recorded near the time and location of the Dorsey and Miller murders. The jury heard that Quinton Dorsey's grandmother identified LeCompte in a photo lineup on the day of the shooting. A gang member witness corroborated her testimony that the shooter said, "Fuck your grandma," before killing Quinton. 3 witnesses who were associates of LeCompte told authorities that he bragged about the killings. Days after the Dorsey murder, LeCompte robbed 2 people, including a 12-year-old of his socks. Who in the hell is robbing people for socks?
I don't know,
Maybe this guy had really, really small feet. I don't know. That he needed a 12-year-old socks.
Yeah.
But it was said that he was wearing a red and black hoodie and driving a black car. LeCompte was seen wearing a red bag season hoodie in an Instagram live post the day of the robberies. A relative of the 12-year-old victim went looking for LeCompte and found him right away. LeCompte fired shots, but nobody was injured. The shell casings from the shooting matched those at the Dorsey crime scene. And once again, witnesses saw a black Nissan fleeing the scene. The Nissan was captured by surveillance footage near the scene of Matima Miller's murder in the Southbridge neighborhood of Wilmington. It seems to me, Gibbs, that they have no shortage of evidence, right, against this LeCompte guy.
No. He's the definition of a menace to society.
Yeah, I feel like if you looked up that term, they should put this guy's picture next to it.
Yeah.
That's just no definition needed. Just put his picture. Matima's best friend, Quan, confirmed that LeCompte was the shooter and picked him out of a photo police lineup. Gang associates also relayed incriminating conversations about the Miller shooting. The black Nissan was found near Claymont after LeCompte and an associate stole a red sedan. In the red sedan, LeCompte and others unsuccessfully fired on rival gang members in Wilmington. LeCompte crashed the car during a police chase and left his phone inside the vehicle before he was arrested. Evidence from his cell phone, including text, that could be interpreted as bragging about the crimes. So, again, tons of evidence against him. Some of this was due to his own kind of incompetence.
Right.
Right? He left behind a bunch of incriminating evidence, when he left his phone.
Yeah.
The other thing is, obviously, this guy only had one gun because he used the same gun at every shooting. The shell casings all matched.
Makes the forensics for the police pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to cover anything up.
I don't think he cared.
He wasn't hiding his face. He was shooting people in front of crowds of other people. There's no doubt he had a very low appreciation for life.
Oh, yeah.
Including his own.
Exactly.
I don't think he cared much about his own life. The defense emphasized discrepancies in witness statements, noting that some witnesses didn't immediately identify LeCompte as the shooter and admitted that they had done research on social media about the killings. And maybe some of those witnesses, like Quan, didn't come forward right away because they were scared to death.
Rightfully so.
And rightfully so. In October 2024, Israel LeCompte received 2 life sentences plus 163 years.
Yeah. Good.
Those are healthy sentences.
Yeah.
And very well deserved. In total, the prosecution of the North Pack gang defendants resulted in 6 life sentences and an additional 400 years of prison time, according to Attorney General Kathy Jennings. All I know is there's a lot of people who were associated with this North Pack gang who are going to be seeing only the inside of a prison for a very long time, possibly including the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And to me, let's face it, Israel LeCompte definitely deserves to be one of those people. As we wrap this one up, Gibbs, the murders of Matima Miller and Quinton Dorsey, they were devastating and shocking to their friends and families. Neither young man was involved in gang activity, but they became the targets of the North Pack gang. Prosecutors believe that Matima was executed because of his friendship with Quinton Dorsey. Lead prosecutor Joe Grubb explained in an interview for the show Deadly Influence, "We think Israel LeCompte wanted to go out and prove his worth to his fellow gang members, so he went on a 10-day crime spree and took it upon himself to rob, shoot, steal, and promote the gang continuously on Instagram."
I don't think this LeCompte cares if he's in prison or not, though. That's the thing. I think it probably didn't impact him the way it would most, being sent off to prison for the rest of your life.
Well, he certainly didn't act as though prison was a big deterrent.
Right.
You know, like I said, he didn't cover his face. He didn't try to get away, really, with any of these things. It just seemed like for this 10-day stretch, he was doing pretty much anything he wanted with very little disregard for human life, property, and even his own outcome.
And for me, if I was the prison warden, somebody like him coming into my prison, kind of scary, because at a young age, he's already committed all this.
He's going to be there for a very long time.
And what does he have to lose to do anything in there? He's already got 2 life sentences. So how are you going to deter him from doing anything bad in prison?
I think tough. There are probably a lot of people in the prison much badder than him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And they are going to deter him because he doesn't want to get his ass beat.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to school him pretty quick.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I do not want to do in my life.
Yeah.
Probably number 1 on the top of that list is go to prison.
I think there's a lot of people that have that same list. Yeah.
I don't consider myself a wimp, but I certainly don't consider myself a badass either. And do not feel as though it would be fun to have to fight my way through life every day in prison.
Yeah. You'd have to do that,
He might have to.
For your meal, for your...
Especially at 53 years old, I don't want to have to be fighting dudes all day. But man, I can't say it enough. This was one bad guy. I mean, I know there was a whole gang and other bad people as well, but obviously we spent most of our time talking about Israel LeCompte.
Yeah.
He was and you said it, I just don't think he cared
No.
about anything. To commit all these crimes and to kind of promote them on Instagram does not seem like the smartest thing to do. But he's where he belongs.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
But that's it for our episode on Matima Miller. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Cats and Cats. I got 2 stories that can relate to both of you guys. Gibby, one time when I was in high school, makes it short, we messed around with some batteries. Teacher said put them away. I turned around. I don't know why. Put them in a microwave. I was like, I was going to get these after class. Come the next day in class, teacher was freaking out. I had forgotten I left the batteries in the microwave. At the time, I didn't know something bad would happen if you left batteries in the microwave, but I do now. Guess you could say I pulled a Gibby. Mike, I was talking and dating this girl. Valentine's Day came up. I got her a gift. She helped me after I gave it to her. I can relate, brother. Well, sort of lost in the end. Keep up what you guys are doing. I love it. Stay safe. Keep your own time ticking, guys.
All right. Love the voicemail. He obviously listens closely to what we're talking about.
Sounds like it.
Man, I don't know. It's a bad feeling when you think you're in love with someone, you get them something nice for Valentine's Day, and then either right then or shortly after they dump your ass. It's not a good feeling.
No. Sorry that happened to you.
But he's right. It's their loss.
It is their loss. And sometimes people do put batteries in microwaves and forget that they put them in there. Because where are you going to store batteries?
Other than the microwave.
I think maybe he didn't like that teacher.
Yeah, maybe. All right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time. So for Mike
And Gibby.
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.